How's it going? Ryan here. Today I'm going to go over the 3 trades that I took on SPY. The first 2 were losers. The third one was a winner. Didn't quite bring me back to break even, but I had a very small loss today, so that last winner kind of saved me. Not very proud of how I traded today. There was some sloppiness, maybe not even trusting in myself as much as I should. But yeah, overall could have done a lot better. We'll get into that in a second, but for now we're on the daily time frame of SPY. We're taking a look at some levels. I'll just go over some that are relevant. We have the top of this gap down from, I don't know, a month ago, or 2 months ago now, I suppose. 438.6.7, that range. We have the top of this lower high, 437.2-ish. We have the top of this gap up that we did a few days ago. That's 433. And then we have yesterday's highs and lows. That's represented by the green and the red. And then we have the pre-market low in the yellow. We also have these trend lines. I'll get into those in a second. I'll take a look at the 4-hour. And we can take a look at that. This is where I really saw this pattern, kind of this ascending wedge, was on the 4-hour. You can see we have this upper band of resistance, this lower band of support. We're kind of bouncing around in there, respecting that so far. You can see what happened when we broke out. You can also see when we tested the bottom of that, we pushed up, and when we broke out, we really broke out. So that, I was talking the other day, the past 2 days, I took some initial losses off of small trend lines from the pre-market, like trend lines on like the 5-minute chart. And I said that I was going to stop doing that and only look at trend lines maybe on like a daily or 4 or 1 hour, bigger, longer time frame trend lines seem to be respected more than just ones that form in a pre-market. So this is an example of that. We can take a look at the 5-minute. All right, I apologize. I had to pause to take a drink of water. But this is the 5-minute. We're on zoom in. I just want to first acknowledge these levels played out really well today, which makes me even more kind of not ashamed, maybe ashamed of how I traded, considering the trades were there and the levels worked out. We went pretty much level to level, retesting, breaking, holding. It's textbook. There was trades to make. I made some. None of them were great. The last one being the best one that I took, and I still could have done better. But let's get into it. We opened up around the top of that kind of resistance, as well as that 438.6 level. Immediately rejected. Had some big volume coming in on some very bearish candles. Found our way down to that 437.2 level. Found some support in that level. And then started to come back up and push back up, forming a lower high. This is where I took my first trade. So I took a put on this candle here. Reason being, well, I don't want to zoom in that much. But we were coming up and testing this area that we had rejected off of earlier. Also, you can see volume is declining. So we're coming up. Yes, we held this level, which I should not have ignored. We got a bullish engulfing here. We have these long wicks. We're respecting this level, 4 touches, failing to close below. So maybe taking puts immediately off this candle wasn't the smartest decision. This trade I'm not super stoked on, but I was thinking that we might put in a double top here and continue our way down with how aggressive this sell-off was initially and kind of the low volume that we were getting on the green candles. So I took a call there, or excuse me, I took a put here, and I got stopped out on this candle when we broke above. So that was a pretty small loss. It was 1 position, so small size, tight stop. Took a loss there. What I did miss was the put off the retest of yesterday's high. So had I been patient and actually just waited until it came up to my level, I would have been just fine. And you see the reaction we got. That was a huge move. Contracts went over 100%. And I just missed it. I missed it because I took a put here and got stopped out because of FOMO. We saw this big move. I thought we were just going to continue, and I didn't want to miss out on it. If I'm being honest, that's what it was. And that's also why I'm not super stoked on how I traded today, because it was a bit sloppy. So taking a put here was premature. I should have waited for a retest of a level. I even debated taking a call here when I saw us hold this level. you know, 1, 2, and then 3 put in this hammer, respecting that level. I almost debated a call, but I didn't really want to fade this strong move that we had, so I decided to try to trade with the trend and take a put. I just took it too early. I just was too eager to get into the move, and I missed the real one. You know, if I took puts here, I'm golden, and we drop pretty much immediately with very little drawdown, you know, maybe a few cents. So I fumbled that one. You know, looking for continuation, that's the right idea, but I just wasn't patient to take it at the right place. So that's the first loss. Second loss, we come down and I see us holding this pre-market low. We're forming hammer candles. Volume's kind of starting to pick up as we're in this area. After this big sell-off, we have a huge jump in volume, big sell-off. Then we hold this level. Volume kind of drops, but then starts to pick up again. I took a call off the pre-market low, and this candle here stopped me out. But I had conviction in this trade. It doesn't sound like it because I got stopped out. But I had conviction in this trade because on the hourly, we were still respecting this. We rejected off it perfectly in the morning, and we were coming down, and we were holding that pre-market low in conjunction with this lower support trend line. So I felt pretty good. I felt pretty good about at least a temporary bounce here. So that is why I got into a call initially, but I think I got in a little too early. And that's one thing for me to remember, is that if you're trading off of something on the hourly time frame, it's probably going to play out a little bit slower than maybe trading a 5-minute timeline, if that makes sense. Like, I was watching the 5-minute and the hourly at the same time. How long did we hang out at this level before reversing? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-ish, 8 or 9. These are 5-minute candles, so that's like 40 to 45 minutes. So if you can think about that, we're hanging out down here around 45 minutes before we get that reversal. It's not quick. It's not a touch and go. I mean, it certainly wasn't like this. But I just got in early. I got in on one of these candles. This little sell-off stopped me out. But then I saw us starting to hold this level on the 5-minute as well as on the hourly, and I decided to re-enter calls here. So first trade, puts here, loss. Second trade, calls here, loss. Third trade, calls again, re-entered, held through, trimmed. Where did I trim? I took one off. I took one off in here somewhere, and the last one I had trimmed on this candle. Now looking at that, you can see that that's pretty poor execution. This was, well, a temporary bottom, but we did get a nice reversal and even came up and retested yesterday's high. Those contracts would have moved really nice. I sold somewhere in here, and it was a small profit. It was enough to kind of erase my losses off the morning, but nonetheless, you know, should have had more conviction. And that's kind of the story of every trade I took today. I had the right idea, I would say, on every trade that I took. I just executed it poorly. Looking for puts and continuation of this move down, that was the right idea. I just entered too early. Looking for calls and a temporary reversal off that, pre-market low and that bottom trend line. Looking at multiple time frames, all of them kind of confirming. That was the right idea. I just entered too soon and got shook out on this drop down when we closed below that level on the 5-minute. Third trade was off the same premise, and I actually held to a profitable position. So third trade was the best one that I took all day. But nonetheless, you know, it was getting a little bit later, you know, as an excuse. It was getting a little later in the day for sure, though. I need to get to work by 9 or online by 9 for work. And I sold it, you know, 8:50. So I was kind of running out of time here. But that is an excuse, you know. I could have paid attention and maybe left a runner and held. So overall execution not the greatest. Levels are playing out. The idea is there. I just need to trust my levels, trust my system, and trade better because it is there. It's me, you know. It's me versus me at this point. Just a note, you can see, I think Jerome Powell spoke today, so we can attribute this to that. But it is pretty cool to see that rising wedge that we were in. When we broke it, we came up and retested it pretty much perfectly, and then rejected. And the last thing to note is that in the pre-market, look at that. We touched the upper band of that gap that we had set just a few days ago. So let's take a look at let's take a look if it'll let me. What is going on? Trading view sometimes is something else. This upper band of this gap. So in the pre-market, we have just touched that. So we have this gap below us Friday. Let's see if we bounce or if we fill that gap. That'd be interesting. That's all I have for you. I appreciate you watching. Thank you. I do trade live Monday through Friday, so if you want to come stop by, hang out, say what's up, we're always happy to have you. That's all I got. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you again. Goodbye.